Hey Hylians! So the other day we had a 50-minute Age of Calamity presentation at the Tokyo Game Show. And within that presentation we were gifted not only a look at some gameplay for the game, showing off early levels and Mipha as a playable character, we got an all-new trailer. This trailer is, I think, a little shorter, at least it felt a little shorter than the original trailer, but it is still packed full with new scenes that we haven't yet seen before. So with the first trailer that came out, I did a little, well, not so little, it was over 30 minutes, but I did a breakdown and analysis of the trailer, and as this trailer gives us a look at a lot of new content, I thought I would do the same. So before I start rambling on for another 5 or so minutes, let's get right into having a look at this new Age of Calamity trailer. The trailer starts in the Akkala region, looking out at the Akkala Citadel up in flames. Within my original trailer breakdown, I pointed out that we had a scene with Daruk in the Akkala region, right by the Citadel, and that we could get to experience the downfall of this location within this game. And from the looks of this, I think that will definitely happen. It's such a stunning shot. We can see just how big this location was, even having a little smaller building or outpost a little further towards the camera. Close to the camera we also have a guardian, one which was clearly alive and moving around not long ago, and has recently been defeated, as we can tell from the sparks coming off of it. Before we move on, it's important to note the Sheikah Tower. As some of you may remember, the towers were said to not be around back then, but within some of the gameplay we saw at the Tokyo Game Show, we saw that the towers were indeed around, and actually seemed to be activated by the strange little egg guardian. It'll be interesting to see how the towers possibly come into gameplay. As this shot plays, we hear Zelda crying in the background before the scene moves on to show her, kneeling down in the rubble, with a malice-filled sky behind her. It's hard to say exactly where this will take place, but I have a feeling it could be around the end. Zelda is alone, no one around, no champions and no Link. Could this be after they have all died, and she now has to work out what she can do herself? This could also be before and shortly after Calamity Ganon has come back, but it may be a little too destroyed for that. We can see that this takes place in Hyrule Castle though, as we can see the large pillar that the Guardians come out of in the background. And looking in Breath of the Wild, I found the exact location. It's the stone gazebo that we see within the memories in the Champion's Ballad, obviously now though, all destroyed. If this takes place after the champions are dead, maybe Zelda came back here to remember her lost friends. This is the exact location that very memorable photo was taken after all. We then see the tapestry, that at this point has been seen many times. This time though, a black smoke bursts out from the middle and slowly starts to spread across the tapestry. Moving on, we then see the first of the 4 champions, Mipha. In this moment, it seems to be the first time that her and Link have met after a very long time, as we hear Mipha say,
"Well, Link, you've grown since I last saw you, and yet you have not changed."
We then get to see a little more gameplay from Mipha, showing off more of her water-based attacks. She creates a tidal wave which sends enemies backwards and then turns into a cyclone. Along with her fighting, we also get to see that this takes place within Zora's Domain. We saw some clips of Zora's Domain within the first trailer, but if I'm remembering right, I don't think we actually saw any taking place actually in Zora's Domain. They were always somewhere close and more on the outskirts. This confirms that Zora's Domain will be a level and we will get to run around it. After that, we get a very quick but very sweet little shot of Mipha and baby Sidon. It's so nice that we're getting to see a little bit more of the relationship between these two siblings. We got to see a little bit of their relationship in the Champion's Ballad, but it wasn't much at all. But this is going to make Mipha's eventual demise even more sad, knowing she's leaving behind her little baby brother. And then after that we see Mipha and Zelda talking with Mipha's father and king of the Zora people, King Dorphan. I believe this takes place after Zelda has asked Mipha to be a champion. Zelda is wearing the same outfit we see in the memory where she did ask Mipha, and it would make sense for them to go back to Mipha's father after Mipha agreed to fight. Within these scenes, we also hear that Mipha is saying she wants to be fully prepared and she wants to learn new ways to fight. So perhaps she's going off with Zelda to learn more ways to fight away from Zora's Domain. getting ready and training for the Calamity's return. And then we go back to the tapestry and see that black smoke is closing in around the Divine Beast Ruta and its champion. At first I thought this was just an interesting little visual, but I believe that this is symbolising how Ganon's malice and evil is slowly creeping towards the champions and the Divine Beasts. That this dark magic will soon take control of the beasts and end the lives of the champions. After Mipha, we move on to the lovable Goron Daruk, who is accompanied by Zelda, Link and Impa. And we can also see the little eggy guardian friend also hanging around with them. These scenes are taking place in the Death Mountain region. I'm guessing around the base of the mountain, as Link, Zelda and Impa don't seem to have any protective armour on, but they could have just drank a special potion. We can tell this is Death Mountain though due to the lava in the background and later on seeing Death Mountain itself. We also hear Daruk say that Rudania is in a difficult spot as we see the volcano. Is the Divine Beast within the volcano, making it hard to get to? Could this mean that the Divine Beasts move around even without a champion or Ganon's influence over them? Or could this mean that Ganon is already slowly gaining control of the Divine Beasts? We then get to see more gameplay with Daruk. This is very interesting as we see him using the Stasis ability. Originally we were thinking that the Sheikah Slate power was only used by Zelda, Link and possibly Impa. But looking at this and taking into account the gameplay that we got from Tokyo Game Show, we can see that the Sheikah Slate will work in a way very similar to the bombs, hookshot and boomerang did in Hyrule Warriors. They'll be something that all heroes can use, and can be used in combos and for stunning certain enemies. In this shot we see Daruk using the stasis room to freeze a group of Lizalfos, and he follows it up with another attack. It's cool to see the runes also being used with combos. Within this Death Mountain segment, we also get to see a look at the Igneo Talus, and it's definitely going to be a boss for us to fight. Perhaps the boss of the level we actually saw them play at the Tokyo Game Show. And to finish off this little segment at Death Mountain, we see Daruk using his champion's ability, Daruk's Protection, rolling over a rock he uses as a ramp to go flying over a gap. I believe this could be the gap we use a bridge to cross to get to Rudania in Breath of the Wild. We then see that dark smoke again, also coming in closer around the image of the champion and Rudania in the tapestry. We then travel to the Gerudo Desert. Well, first it looks like we're on the mountains surrounding it. Here we see Urbosa, Link, Zelda and Impa, and again our little eggy guardian friend. This moment seems to be after Zelda has asked Urbosa to be a champion, as we see them all together by Varnaboros. Urbosa is looking at the Divine Beast and then declares that she will be the one to pilot it. After that, we then get to see Urbosa fighting a group of yellow Lizalfos. Yellow Lizalfos have electric powers and are found a lot within the Gerudo Desert, so this definitely fits with the setting. While it is a little hard to make out, I do think they could be fighting very close to Karakara Bazaar. On the left behind the Lizalfos, we see what looks to maybe be some of the stalls with the little shades above them. Within this, we also get our first look at Urbosa using Urbosa's Fury, her champion ability. In the first trailer we got to see her using some electric attacks tied to her sword, but now we finally get to see her main attack. And it looks really cool, zapping the full group of Lizalfos in front of her. Moving on, we're now within Gerudo Town, and it seems we're within the main chief's room, where we find Riju in Breath of the Wild and where we see Urbosa in the champion's ballad Memory. Within this scene we have Urbosa, Link, Zelda, Impa, our little guardian friend, and a couple of Gerudo soldiers getting ready to fight. I really think who they could be getting to fight is a Yiga member, or perhaps a couple of them. If this is set within the main Gerudo chief's room, it does have that large open area behind the main throne. So maybe the Yiga, knowing that the princess was there, made their way inside only to be met with our group of heroes. This could also lead into a fight within Gerudo Town. I did think that this scene and the scene of Urbosa fighting in Gerudo Town from the first trailer could have been connected, but Urbosa is not wearing her crown within that fight, like she is here, so maybe these are at different times. It's also very interesting to point out that Link is here, and not in disguise. As we all know, the Gerudo are very against men being within the walls of their town. So how is Link here? Well, with Zelda and Urbosa being very close and Link being Zelda's appointed knight, it's very likely that she could just let him in with Zelda. There is also the idea that Link proved himself to the Gerudo and now is seen as an honorary part of their people. This happened within Ocarina of Time. Once Link defeated the Gerudo guarding the Carpenters, he was recognised for his strength and was allowed to freely enter the Gerudo fortress whenever he wanted. Perhaps in this game we'll have a mission where we have to fight Urbosa or another Gerudo to prove ourselves before being let into the town with Zelda. We then get a shot of 3 Gerudos running towards us. Not really much I can say on this, it could lead into many scenarios. But I am happy to see more Gerudos in cutscenes in this game. The Gerudo are my favourite race in the Zelda series, so I'm always happy to see them turn up. And we finish our little trip to the Gerudo Desert with a shot of Link and Urbosa looking determined as they both look at something or someone. We then again see the dark smoke on the tapestry coming in closer to the champion and Varnaboris. Again, symbolising Ganon's malice is getting closer and closer. And we then see the dark smoke move on closer to Var Meadow and its champion. We see the final of the champions, Rivali, who says,
"Rito Village is my home. While I'm here, you won't be getting any closer."
This is a pretty simple line, but who is he saying it to? A Yiga member? A new character? Whoever he's talking to, he seems to see them as a threat, if the tone of his voice is anything to go by. While the Yiga are the obvious choice to pick for who he could be talking to, I don't know if they would be up that far in the mountains, so maybe it's someone or something new that we haven't seen before. After that, we get to see a little bit more gameplay of Rivali as he fights a group of Ice Breath Lizalfos. And we finally get to have a look at his champion's ability as well, Rivali's Gale. He goes up into the air with the help of Rivali's Gale and then shoots multiple bomb arrows down at the Lizalfos. And these scenes with Rivali finish with him standing on Divine Beast Var Meadow, once again seemingly talking to someone or something. Because of where he is and the tone of his voice, I think that he could be talking to Windblight Ganon. The Blights don't really talk, but maybe it's just waiting to attack or the two have already been fighting. I should also note that Rivali says here, Divine Power.
I suppose the time has finally come to reveal Var Meadow's divine power!
Is this something that the Divine Beast can do that we haven't yet seen? We then get to see the Deku Tree. Zelda, Link and the champions and even some Hylian soldiers are all there with him. Now, it's said that Link pulled the Master Sword as a child, but within this moment it would make sense that they are all around him while he does something like this. If he wasn't pulling the Master Sword, I don't see why they would all be there. So perhaps this game is changing more than we thought. It could also be that Link did pull the sword as a child, but because there was no need for it back then, he placed it back in the pedestal. We also hear the Deku Tree say,
"You have all that is needed to face whatever destiny awaits. Hyrule's fate is in your hands."
So we know this dialogue, even if it doesn't take place from this exact scene, is said once everything is in place. Once the champions are all chosen and Link has the Master Sword. This dialogue also carries on, accompanying the next couple of shots. The next shot is quick, but I feel it could be taking place the same day the champions are officially recognised by the King of Hyrule. The reason why I think this is because in this shot we see Link and the champions all have their blue clothes that Zelda made for them, showing that they are the champions. And where they are standing is the stone gazebo, where we see them hanging around in the final memory, before they take that classic photo together. And to go all the way back to the start of this video, this is the same place Zelda was crying at the beginning of the trailer, a place of happy memories of her friends now all destroyed. We then get to see Link, Zelda and the champions along with some Hylian soldiers walking together. I get the feeling that because of the light fog, this and the scene of them with the Deku Tree could go together, and this could be them walking through the Lost Woods to get to the Deku Tree. We don't actually see Urbosa in this, but she's very likely off to the side or just being obscured by Daruk. We then get a very quick shot of Link, Mipha, Urbosa and Daruk getting ready to fight, followed by a shot of Zelda seemingly shouting orders. Because of Zelda's dress and the orange glow to everything, it could be that this is around the start of the attack of Calamity Ganon, and she's giving orders to the champions and perhaps some Hylian soldiers. This scene is also taking place within the sealed grounds. a location that we saw within the first trailer, and where Zelda says the ancient blessing over Link in one of the memories in Breath of the Wild. When Ganon returns, they are actually quite far from this location, as Zelda had just come down from the Spring of Wisdom. So if this is at the time Ganon comes back, I don't know how they could have gotten there so fast. Perhaps things have just not gotten so out of hand at this point. And now we see what I think is my favourite scene in this trailer, the attack on Hyrule Field. The once beautiful open grassy fields is now lit up with fire and the purple lights coming from the Guardians. And we see Varnaboris with Urbosa standing on its head watching all of it. There are hundreds of Guardians all over the field. You can see some right at the very back, miles away from where Urbosa and Naboris are standing. And speaking of Naboris and Urbosa, this shows the Divine Beasts will be moving around Hyrule, and could be a little hint that we will get to control these giant mechanical beasts. I love the little details of it already raining and becoming sunset. We see within one of the memories, Link and Zelda running together after the champions and her father have died. Within that scene it's raining and nighttime, so within this scene, as it's raining and seems to be sunset, it might not be too long until that scene happens. We then get a look at a Guardian turning to face us. It's slanted, and if you look behind you can see part of the giant pillar it's coming out of, showing that this is a newly awakened Guardian. We also then see the same shot of the Guardians marching through Hyrule Castle Town that we saw in the original trailer. And then we see Impa and Zelda. This shot and the shot from the original trailer where the camera quickly zooms out from Hyrule Castle very likely go together. In that we could see Link, Zelda and Impa all together. Zelda in her white dress, an orange sunset glow over everything and a waterfall in the background, the same as what we can see here. The princess is looking at the Sheikah Slate, but not for long as the ground starts to shake and we see Link look towards Hyrule Castle. We then see the castle in the next scene, but I'm not certain if they're actually part of the same scene. This moment with the castle could be from a different moment of the game. I actually don't think they're part of the same scene as the lighting is very different. But in this scene we also see what looks to be the start of malice forming around Hyrule Castle, before a bright beam shoots out from the castle. This looks to be a Guardian beam, and if you listen very closely you can hear what seems to be the sound effect that plays when a Guardian shoots you. Maybe this could be the first Guardian taken over by Ganon's malice. Maybe the Sheikah and the Hylian soldiers are trying to stop it, only for it to shoot out wildly. Guardians do shoot out randomly sometimes in Breath of the Wild, sometimes guessing your location if they have seen you beforehand, but now you're out of sight. When the beam goes off though, we see another light from another part of the castle. Is this another Guardian, or did someone do something to make that Guardian shoot? And then the trailer finishes by zooming into the image of Calamity Ganon on the tapestry, before he breaks free and spreads that dark smoke across the screen, leading into the game's title. This trailer and the original one are both fantastic. They do so well at both making the game seem like an epic war between good and evil, but also showing that even with that, this story will not be a happy one, and the longer it goes on, the more sad it will get. There are so many little hints towards things that we have been told and we have speculated about that I can't wait to see with my own eyes. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity comes out November 20th. It's getting so close now. I can't believe it's only a couple months away. I was already super excited by that first trailer, and this one just upped that excitement. But tell me, what are you most looking forward to about Age of Calamity? And what from this trailer got you most excited? For me, it was seeing Hyrule Field up in flames. It's just such awesome and saddening imagery. I hope you've all enjoyed today's trailer breakdown. Again, tell me what you're most looking forward to about this game. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like. They always help me out and of course show me that you are enjoying the content. And if you're new around here, why not subscribe? I post Legend of Zelda content every week, so if you're into that, this is the perfect place to be. Thank you all for watching, I hope you have all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!